I think those windows leak. Welcome back to the Opportunity Zone. I'm joined today by my co-host, Mr. Chris Lavin. Chris.
Hey, everybody. Nate.
Hey, guys. There is a heck of a show today. We got a little bit more coming down the pipeline from the Fed. Obviously, they paused rates, but what does it mean for you as an investor? What are you locking? Chris has been on the phone, 2 different conversations in the last week, locking rates on 2 different properties right now. So we'll give you the download on what's happening with rates. We're also going to talk about savings and credit. Why is that important? Well, if you're renting or in the business of rentals right now, you're going to want to know what's happening with savings rate and credit rates right now. We're also going to talk about the effects of tariffs. As some of these tariff situations are starting to get settled, what is going to be the market that's affected the most, which is affected the least? All that and more on the Opportunity Zone today. Chris, before we dive into the news, I want to cover a quick little Bible lesson, and then I'm going to ask you to bless us.
Absolutely.
Okay, so have you ever been asked to step up, to lead something, to take charge? Okay, in the Bible, there's a man named Saul who was asked to step up and take leadership, take a very important leadership position, the first one of its kind in his nation. And his was his reply. He said, but hold on, I'm only from this small tribe. I'm from the tribe of Benjamin. My family's not important. Are you sure? Like this, I don't know if I can do this. He had insecurities. He had doubts. Have you ever had insecurities or doubts when you're asked to step into something? Yes, it's true that this man Saul, generations before him, his family tribe was almost wiped out during a civil war. Yes, it's true he was a farmer, agricultural-based society. Yes, it's true he was herding donkeys. All that's true. But there's one thing that a lot of people omit. And I pulled this out of scripture, Samuel 9:1. It talks about Saul's father in Samuel 9:1. It actually says that his father was a wealthy and influential man. It went on to describe that Saul was handsome and he was head and shoulders taller than everybody else. Yet Saul saw himself inside as someone different. He didn't ever give himself credit for being this tall, handsome guy with an influential father. None of that. What he saw inside was, I'm insignificant. My family is no one. We're small. I'm a farmer. Has it ever happened to you? My message for you is this, okay? When you get asked to step up, when you get asked to take charge, instead of letting those limiting thoughts come through your brain, instead recognize that you might be tall and good looking like Chris. You might be tall and handsome like Saul. You might have a father or a mother who was fairly influential in the community. Whatever that is, use that, and just let that propel you forward. Chris, could you bless us and we'll dive in?
Absolutely. Heavenly Father, first and foremost, I'd like Nate's words to carry into everybody's hearts that's listening right now, and give us the ability, the strength, and confidence to step up in situations where we didn't think we could rise to the occasion. I ask that you give us the strength and the courage to do so. Please bless this meeting so that we can share some knowledge with some people and hopefully have a positive impact in their lives. I beg this in your name. Amen.
Amen. All right, we're going to go to the first news article. Bianco, if you could load that for us, that'd be amazing. So the Federal Reserve, Chris, you and I have talked about the Fed quite a bit. Obviously, they had their big meeting last week.
Mm-hmm.
They were trying to decide, are we going to raise rates? Are we going to lower them? The outcome was they decided to stay. Again, exactly how Chris and I have forecasted this the last couple of times. What's actually happening, though, Chris, with interest rates? What's going on in the field?
You know, I'm almost sick of talking about this. It's a constant over and over thing in the news. It's a Trump-Powell battle. But let's talk about how it affects us today. So rates are still holding where they were. They're continuing to affect the market. But what it's allowing us to do is allowing tier 1 lenders or tier 1 borrowers, to lock in and still get the good rates. But what it's not doing is it's not allowing homeowners to buy houses. So single family houses are falling off. And since people aren't buying houses, you know what that means? That means that they're still renters. We happen to be in the multifamily industry. It's good news for us, even though it's negative news to the economy and the American people as a whole.
Yeah. So what does it mean for interest rates today too, Chris? Like what are you, the average borrower I know is probably paying sixes, but you can contradict me if you wish.
It's closer to 7. Like
Seven.
the single family homes, standard FHA loan, they're 6.8, 6.9, all day long. Since we're the status that we have with banks, and that they know we perform, the agency, the Fannies, the Freddies of the world are actually getting us sub 6. So we're able to get in there and get a loan at 5.7, 5.8 for our properties and our transactions. Again, it gives us the ability to be more competitive because we can buy higher priced stuff because the servicing of our debt is a little bit lower. Unfortunately, the general American public, that's not the case.
So for multifamily specifically with a tier 1 borrower, this is like good, really good credit, really good assets. You can get into the 5s.
I can right now, 5.8 all day long.
But for the average Joe, you're probably closer to 7%.
Closer to 7, not going to 6.8, 6.9.
Okay, so,
Yes.
so it leaves a little bit of an advantage for the multifamily investor. Well, significant advantage right now. You can buy with much cheaper debt than
Correct.
somebody could with a single family rental or a duplex type rental.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's go ahead and go to the next article. We're going to talk a little bit about the savings rates of individuals. In this slide right here, this graph that you see on the screen, what it's showing is credit specifically. Okay, so you got savings rates that are declining. You've got credit use that's going up. There's now these new like buy now, pay later apps all over the place,
Yeah.
services, and they're going a little crazy. What's going on with the American consumer and how does it affect us?
It really is despicable. What's happening is because of these interest rates and the stuff going on, it's driving or making the American dollar less effective when it comes to purchasing power, specifically in the mortgage space, right? So Americans can't buy houses, and the reason that they can't buy that nicer or larger priced house is they're carrying credit card debt. One of the biggest factors on your credit score is the amount of debt you have on your credit report. So what's happening is this: higher credit carry, lower credit score. Lower credit score, higher interest rate you're paying on a mortgage. The higher the interest rate on the mortgage, you can only afford a certain monthly payment. If you're paying more of that in interest, that means it's less in principal, means smaller loan amount and smaller houses, and people aren't able to, they're having to settle. Maybe not buying in the neighborhood they want to buy in, and maybe not buying the exact house that's the house of their dreams.
It's like crickets out there for people buying houses, but on the rental side, it's just the opposite.
But how?
Bianca, could you go to the next article? So on the rental side, this is another thing that we have to consider. A lot of people, they just had their student loans restarted.
Yeah.
It's funny, I was chatting with Chris a little bit before this, and a lot of people in this country are under the impression that Biden canceled student loans.
Yes.
And he attempted to, but the reality is that the Supreme Court stopped him. He tried another backdoor way, it didn't go through. Well, now all those student loan payments have been restarted.
Yeah.
There's no more deferral. So that means since the Department of Education has resumed collections on these, that means that folks that haven't been paying in several years, now all of a sudden they got another debt they got to tackle. Yeah. It also further eliminates them from pursuing home ownership.
Right. So if you're defaulted, don't forget that if you're defaulted on a student loan, you cannot qualify for an FHA loan, right? People don't remember that. And as a result, they're having to go to these tier 2 and tier 3 lenders. And again, paying higher interest rates. So there's a cascading effect to this. Unfortunately, in today's society, people live to the amount they spend. There's so many people that are 2 paychecks away from being homeless. So if you had student loans, you weren't paying them because you weren't required to, and you're spending all your money, and now that payment comes back into the picture, there's no room. There's no room for that to happen, and they're going to default. Then again, back to not be able to get that tier 1 mortgage, and they're in even worse shape, paying 8 or 9% for a house. And
they get caught in the trap of renting.
Yeah.
And it's not a cycle that Chris and I want for anybody, but it's just reality. Like if you are a landlord investor right now, it's an amazing time because there's so many people that are dependent on renting. In fact, could we go to the next slide? We're actually going to look at, this is some of the home prices across the country. This is available. This is right through Fred. St. Louis Federal Reserve Bank puts this out all the time. They update it regularly. You can see on the very far right side of the graph, prices have plateaued. They've even slipped a little bit in some counties across America right now. And it's because people, they're tapped out. Like this is it. This is the end of the road. Unless wages increase fairly drastically or prices come down, I don't know how they're going to get this out of this plateau. We're going to be stuck here for a bit.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Remember, that interest rates not only affect us as American consumers directly, like right when we go to buy a home, that builders have to borrow money to build houses, build residences, build buildings, build commercial. If their interest rates are higher, they pass that cost on to any end price. So that's part also of why these prices are going up. You'll see, look at the increase there. It really took a steep climb when the Fed started raising interest rates in 2020.
Let's go ahead and move to the next one. Okay, so now you know what's going on in the residential housing market. You've seen basically the prices are plateauing right now. In some counties, they're actually coming down. Now let's take a little bit about what's happening in the multifamily realm.
Yeah.
Specifically, there is a bill hitting the floor soon, that they're trying to raise the borrowing amount, the loan amount for multifamily property. Why is this? Is this good, bad, and why?
It's good. Okay, so it's good because now that the ability to borrow more money to buy multifamily homes does two things. For multifamily residences does two things. It allows investors to buy a better quality asset and still have it qualify for low income housing. And it allows them to borrow more money as the cost of these things go up. So this is going to have a direct effect on two things. It's going to create a little more competition now in the market because now we can go and get a HUD loan for these things at a higher rate. What I wish though is that it didn't take us 9 months to get a HUD loan. That's an absolute insanity. But now we've got higher reaches, and the cost per door has gone way up. Understand that this is the first increase in 22 years. You've seen the other graph where the cost of other houses went up, other housing went up. Same thing has happened with multifamily. The prices have gone up, but the FHA and HUD haven't supported those increases. So you can count on this having a huge impact and having more competition in the marketplace.
We can go ahead and go to the next article. While that's being switched, let's talk a little bit about this 22-year gap. So in that time frame, obviously prices have gone up a lot. Building values have gone up a lot too. So this is a pretty meaningful bill that's on the floor right now. We're supportive of it. We want it to go through. We hope it does because, like Chris said, there's more competition in the marketplace. There's more loans that are available, so more building can get done, especially in affordable. Chris, I want to draw our attention to what Mr. Parsons said about the tariff concern for multifamily investors. Now, in his article, he really tiered mainly into new construction
Correct.
versus existing buildings, but he kind of laid the pathway and he said, you know what? It's going to hit these builders like a rock, like steel, aluminum, anything that's imported, it's going to hit them like a rock. But then on the flip side, people that already own buildings, it's not going to hit them very much.
Correct.
What are your thoughts?
He's exactly right. So what's going to happen is this is going to reduce the number of starts on new construction or raise the cost of construction overall even more significantly. So getting the tariffs, I think Trump has got the foresight to say, we're going to exclude building materials, and I hope that holds true. But we'll see. Even though some building materials will be excluded, others will not. So it's going to have that impact on the construction. Guess what that does again? It drives the price of existing multifamily up because it's still cheaper to buy an existing than it is to start new construction. So I think that we're going to see more competition and prices elevate. So if I hate to say this, I really hate to say this. If you've got a good multifamily asset, you really should hold on to it, unless of course you want to sell it to us. Because if you want to sell it to us, that's a good plan. Other than that, you should probably hang on to it.
Yeah, let's go ahead and go to the next article. So yeah, you can sell to us. But you're going to see a lot of owners hold on for dear life, especially if they understand the tax bill that's about to come out.
Mm-hmm.
The tax bill that's about to come out is one that could make a lot of people very wealthy by cutting taxes significantly. All right, I want to move into the top 9 rental markets which are going to be affected by tariffs. And I'm going to piggyback off of what The Economist just said in the last article. This article specifically talks about these markets being hit the most because they have the most open permits for building multifamily property. Again, this is not affecting existing buildings. These tariffs are mostly going to hit the new builds. So you got San Diego, California on the list. You got Birmingham, Alabama. You got Cincinnati, Ohio. You got Atlanta, Georgia. You got Cleveland, Ohio, and Columbus. Ohio is like dominating.
Well, we know the Midwest is the new Florida, so.
Permits like crazy. You got
Yeah.
Oklahoma City. It looks like a lot of permits are open. And then Memphis, Tennessee.
We like Memphis.
And then last but not least, Wisconsin.
Shut up.
Milwaukee.
Wisconsin, Milwaukee. Isn't that right there? What, Green Bay?
Green Bay. Yeah.
Oh,
You know it. And let's actually go ahead and flip over to the next one, Mr. Bianco, and you're going to want to do a new screen share so you can capture both screens of this. We're going to talk about Wisconsin for a minute. Let's talk about Green Bay. And this show is sponsored by this deal. Yes, Chris and I have a deal. A lot of people have been asking us, when is the next deal coming? You got to actually do stop share first, and then you can dual share after you stop. So Chris and I are going to talk about our new deal. If you're an investor accredited specifically and you're looking for another opportunity, then pay attention to this one for 2 minutes. Okay. This particular property we're about to show you is in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Why Green Bay? Number one, it literally was ranked number one best place to live in the country in 2023. Since then, in the last decade or so, it's been on the top 10 list consistently, time and time again. Why are people loving on Green Bay so much?
Why are people living in Green Bay so much? There's a lot of reasons. First of all, it's a suburb now, especially with the new public transportation coming in to Chicago, Milwaukee, all over the place. And the fact is it's cheaper to live in Green Bay than any of those places, and the commute is making it worthwhile. And not only that, there's it's also like number one currently for high income earners moving into access. Actually, it's number two, beat out by Palm City.
Let's
Florida.
show that. Could you go on the second article right up there? This is amazing. This doesn't happen.
Yeah. So right there, this study talks about how look at Palm Bay, Florida, Green Bay, Wisconsin, the top two cities in the country were for top income earners.
Let me put this in 10-year-old terms, since
All right.
I've got my 11-year-old boy sitting here helping with our tech today. Okay, Green Bay, Wisconsin has more high income earners moving to this city than almost any other city in the country. The only other city that beat it was Palm Bay, Florida. This is folks that make 200 grand or more per year moving to the city. So not only are they having a good population influx, but they're having a wealthy population influx, which means they can pay more in rent and they can stimulate the economy more with their
Right,
dollars.
disposable income that they're ready to spend in the local economies.
Let's go ahead and go to the next article. So let's talk about the county as a whole. So this is Brown County we're going to talk about. That's where Green Bay sits. It's among the fastest growing counties in Wisconsin. The projections are saying it's going to be number one this year. So you got an influx of people, especially folks that have high incomes. Why? Because jobs like crazy have been coming to Green Bay, Wisconsin. Let's go ahead and click on this last one. And then if you could also restart that little aerial video, I think people can get and appreciate kind of a nice river view of this property. It's literally on the Fox River. It's at the mouth of Lake Michigan, Great Lakes. So it's just a beautiful, beautiful Class A asset. If you're looking for an investment spot, here's what you do. Our team is going to put a link in the chat right now. Click on that link. Okay, I'll tell you about the numbers and how it works in just a second, but click on that link and book a call with us. We'll literally give you the offering memorandum. We'll go through the numbers with you. We'll get to know you. If it's not this deal, then we can build a relationship for the future, but click on the link and book a call with us. If you don't see a link, just put the word call in the comments and we'll get the link over to you. If you're following us somewhere on social media and you don't see that, put the word call in the chat and we'll get it over to you. So the investment tiers, this is where it gets kind of fun. We have a lot of folks that come to us that want to do bigger dollar amounts.
Yes.
So they can get a bigger return out of it. And so we have one tier where folks can drop $1 million. We've had some of those come in. Actually, you just got a wire in last week for $1 million on it.
Yep.
If you are someone that wants that, then you can expect a couple of things. Number one, equity splits that are very favorable. 80-20, which is unheard of in this industry. Most people are around 70-30. 80-20 equity splits, preferred return of 10%, which means you get paid 10% before we get to take anything. Okay, that's how that works. In addition to that, we're projecting the IRR to range between 17 and 22%. So it's up to 22%. So it's very, very healthy, very generous for a stabilized Class A asset. Bianco, if you could show that aerial again, I appreciate it. The second tier is 500K or more. This gets an 8% preferred return. Equity splits are a little different, 75-25. Still expecting to be somewhere between 17 and 21% on the exit. And then the last tier, if you're looking for just $100,000 spot, which is our minimum, that earns a 6% preferred return. And it also gets a 70-30 equity split favorable to the investor. In addition to that, we're expecting somewhere between a 17 and a 20% IRR for folks that come in on that level. Now, you might ask the question, Chris, I'm going to ask you to help me with this. Why do we do this? What's in it for us?
What's in it for us? Well, first of all, we get to share in the tax benefits, which is my primary goal. Secondarily, it allows our business to generate some income. And what we do with that income and those profits is that we personally invest those profits into community action stuff, both through our properties individually and through our own altruistic personal passions. We've got 501c3s we support. We have all kinds of charitable things that we do. We're opening a food pantry here in West Palm Beach, Florida. We've got Home Invest Kids that we affect kids' lives. We've got other 501c3s that we support. So at the end of the day, it's our privilege to be able to participate in kingdom work and bringing the love of God to people who may not know about that relationship and try to expose them to something positive in their life and have a positive effect in the world.
Beautiful. We can take off the screen share now. So yeah, that's the deal. If you're looking for a potential deal, this is the best one of the year by far. Like literally, Chris and I have scoured hundreds of multifamily properties. You probably know it out there. If you've been looking for a deal to put stuff in, it's been thin pickings.
Yep.
But when we nailed this one, like the story on it's incredible. We're buying it for less than the seller bought it for, and the seller put a bunch of money into it.
Yes.
So we hit a home run with this one.
This one is, and listen, this is not me just talking. This property is so attractive, both physically, you look at it, it's beautiful, it's on the water, but also financially. The numbers add up, they make sense to everybody. We've just released the PVM at the end of last week, and we're already 60% filled on this property. So it's a $15.8 million acquisition. If you want to participate, I'd really encourage you to reach out to your advisor or book a call. One of our associates is dropping the link in the window right now. Click on that link, book a call with one of our advisors, and make this happen before you regret it. I mean, it's a really great deal. If you're not seeing the link right now, again, put call in the social media platform you're on right now. So one of our team will reach out to you and do a quick interview to see if you're a right fit for us and we're a right fit for you, and get you on part of our team.
Beautiful. Hey, thanks guys for coming to the Opportunity Zone this week. We'll be back at you again next week, same time, same place, with all the latest news that affects you as an investor.
God bless. Thank you everybody for showing up. Cheers.
Bye.